This is why Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is fighting for his safety amid rising threats within President Ruto's government. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is currently battling for his safety as his enemies seek to send him home, to the hospital, or even to the grave, depending on which is nearest. Considered the black sheep in President Ruto's government, Gachagua faces numerous attacks from within the regime. His fears for his life has intensified after an assassination attempt on one of his employees.
And because God doesn't eat ugali, when that bullet was fired, instead of hitting the target, his head, it landed on his shoulder. He visited Nairobi Hospital for 1 week where the bullet was removed. Those stories, President wasn't in the know, I'm the one who told him. And when those people were asked, they started speaking in tongues, tam tam tam. Up to date, the assassins who were sent on motorbikes have never been arrested.
But what has made Rigathi Gachagua the most hated person in President Ruto's government by Ruto's allies? Let's find out.
Significant resources in these institutions, particularly the National Intelligence Service, for this purpose. It is clear there has been a failure in the intelligence and advice we are receiving, particularly concerning crucial government policies.
It is no secret that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has never trusted NIS boss Noordin Haji, considering him his biggest enemy within President Ruto's administration. Gachagua has clashed with Noordin multiple times, dating back to the days of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. During that time, Noordin was the Director of Public Prosecution and Gachagua was the MP of Madira. Gachagua believed that Noordin, Haji, and former DCI boss George Kinoti were being used by Uhuru Kenyatta to persecute him due to his association with William Ruto, who was the deputy president at that time. Gachagua faced charges of money laundering and was arrested by DCI officers at his home in Madira.
Sasa ingine mimi nalala usiku naona kama ilikuwa ni ndoto. Kuamka asubuhi nakuta wale askari walikuwa wanatumwa kunishika, wananingoja hapo nje wanisindikishe mahali mimi naenda. Na mimi nakubaliana Gavana Mike Sonko, wacha tusameane. Sisi ni Wakristo, sisi ni wangwana. Wale walitutesa, wale walituhangaisha, wale walitudhulumu, William Ruto na mimi na sisi zote tumesamea nyinyi.
This long-standing animosity has persisted and Gachagua now finds himself increasingly isolated and under threats within the current government. His ongoing beef with influential figures like Noordin Haji continues to fuel tensions, making him a prime target for political attacks and threats to his safety. Several years later, with Rigathi Gachagua as deputy president and Noordin Haji leading Kenya's intelligence team, the long-standing animosity remains unresolved. This was evident during the recent Gen Z protests, where Gachagua openly criticized Haji, expressing his desire to see him removed from any government position.
Never have protesters invaded and gotten inside parliament. Senior officers have told me in confidence they did not have an advance intelligence brief about the intensity of the protest so that they prepare in advance. The National Intelligence Service slept on the job. And the problem is simple. The Director General of the National Intelligence Service, Noordin Haji, was a junior officer in the National Intelligence Service before he was appointed as DPP. When he was appointed to the office of the Director General, because of inferiority complex, he chased away all the people who were senior to him when he was in the service, therefore crippling the capacity of that service and making it dysfunctional. 3 directors were chased away and reassigned to desk jobs in ministries across government. 13 assistant directors, men and women with proven track record of intelligence collection and analysis, were removed from the National Intelligence Service, leaving a shell under a clueless Director General who has no capacity to run the organization. And that is why the security sector was caught off guard by the intensity, the anger of the Kenyan people, the agitation of the Kenyan people, the resilience of the Kenyan people. Had Noordin Haji done his job, we will not be where we are today. He has no capacity. He is out of the country most of the time on business trips. The country is on his own. My boss, President William Ruto, is exposed. That he has to back down and admit that he has hurt the people of Kenya. Yet this matter has been in public domain for the last 2 months.
Gachagua accused NIA's boss Noordin Haji of orchestrating a plot to frame him and former President Uhuru Kenyatta as the prime financiers and hidden forces behind the Gen Z protests. He claimed that Haji was overseeing a failing intelligence system that had misled President Ruto with inaccurate information regarding the Gen Z protest, which had escalated to an invasion of parliament. In response, Noordin Haji's supporters retaliated, demanding Gachagua's resignation as deputy president for allegedly undermining President William Ruto.
There's no problem between any community, Kalenjin, Somali, Kisii, Abaluya, anything. Kenyans are one family. Politicians who are self-seeking will try and divide this country along ethnic lines, along regional lines. And we're telling the current deputy president, please resign.
The pressure for Gachagua to step down intensified when reports emerged just last week that a cabinet secretary had held a meeting with at least 21 MPs to discuss the possibilities of impeaching Gachagua. And just when we thought that the feud had ended, Deputy President Gachagua reignited tensions by claiming that a former NIS officer he had employed survived an assassination attempt by those seeking his downfall. Gachagua has accused certain state entities, particularly the NIS and DCI, of being used to fighting and intimidating him. In the same interview, he further alleged that his phone calls and those of his close associates were being intercepted. His statements suggest that his biggest adversary within Ruto's government might be the NIS boss.
That Noordin Haji must take responsibility for the deaths that occurred. He must take responsibility for the mayhem. He must take responsibility for failing President William Ruto. He must take responsibility for failing the government of the Republic of Kenya. He must take responsibility for failing the Kenyan nation by not doing his job and advising correctly. And he must do the honorable thing, not just take responsibility, but resign from that office and allow the president to pick a competent director general.
Netizens are left wondering who will survive the turbulence within Ruto's administration. If Gachagua were to resign or be impeached, it would imply that his enemies, particularly within the NIS, are more powerful than him. And if the NIS boss were to step aside, it would indicate that Gachagua is their Baba, aka Baba Yao.